Now on ABC11 Eyewitness News, your first alert to severe weather. Over the next half hour, our first alert weather team sharing important information to keep you and your family safe as we head from spring into summer. The entire First Alert weather team, with our combined decades of experience, are walking you through what to expect over the next few months.
From knowing the difference between a tornado watch and warning to staying safe in a thunderstorm or flood event, plus how to spot potential tree trouble. Meteorologist Steve Seward takes you on a virtual tour of the warning signs that a tree could fall, and we take you behind the scenes of some of our favorite outdoor venues to see their plans to keep you safe during concerts.
And keeping the lights on during a storm. Duke Energy's self-healing power grid and how it could prevent outages. Your first alert to severe weather starts now. Thank you so much for joining us as we help you prepare for the severe weather season. I'm ABC11 Chief Meteorologist Don Schwenneker.
And I'm ABC11 Meteorologist Quaylen Murphy. Stay with us as we walk you through everything you need to know about the potential weather threats that spring up.
You know, ABC11 Eyewitness News is committed to keeping your family safe 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can stay weather ready by downloading our ABC11 mobile app. Just sign up to receive alerts about watches and warnings in your neighborhood, and you can also check out Doppler radar and the 7-day forecast at any time. Let's jump right in. When I say severe weather, tornadoes probably come to mind.
North Carolina averages 26 tornadoes a year. In our state, April sees more tornadoes than any other month, followed by November. That's when a secondary peak occurs. However, tornadoes have been reported in every month of the year. Here's ABC11 Chief Meteorologist Don Schwenneker to explain how tornadoes form and the tools we use to track them.
To get a tornado to form, you need to have the atmosphere doing certain things. So let's take our little model here. There's our house and trees. At the surface, we need to have the wind blowing in one direction. We'll make it go in this direction with that blue line. Then, up in the atmosphere, say around 5,000 feet, the wind is moving in a different direction. That's what that red line is on the top of the screen there. Now, those two working together will actually form columns of air that extend along the ground. This horizontal column of air kind of extending back with this system. So what happens on a thunderstorm day? Well, you get a thunderstorm form, and inside that thunderstorm we get what's called an updraft, where this warm, moist air starts to rise and get sucked up into the storm. Remember that rotating column of air I mentioned that was out here? Well, this updraft can actually take that rotating column of air and it can turn it from this way up to this way and put that rotation up inside the thunderstorm. So we start to see that rotating around inside the storm. You've still got the air being sucked up into it, and as that updraft gets rotation in it, what we'll see next is a tornado will form. It will drop to the ground, and that rotation and updraft is still occurring, but in a very localized level, and these things can be nasty. We can see wind speeds in excess of 300 miles an hour with some of the biggest tornadoes. So have a plan, know what to do, and know where to go before terror touches down in your neighborhood.
It's important to know that thunderstorms don't have to be tornadic to be dangerous. All thunderstorms produce lightning, and that's dangerous. Lightning is a giant spark of electricity in the atmosphere or between the ground and the atmosphere. Just how hot is lightning? It depends on what the lightning is passing through. As lightning passes through air, it can heat the air to 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. Thunder is the sound caused by a nearby flash of lightning. The sound of thunder travels 1 mile in about 5 seconds. The warmer the air, the faster the thunder can travel. For instance, we have a temperature of 40 degrees. That thunder travels at 747 miles per hour. 80 degrees, it travels at 776 miles per hour. The sound of lightning dissipates as it travels outward. It can be heard for a distance of only about 10 miles from the actual lightning strike. Lightning is on the top 3 storm-related killers in the United States. When we look at lightning data from 2006 to 2019, fishing deaths accounted for 4 times as many lightning fatalities as golfers, and most lightning fatalities occurred with people enjoying outside activities. It's also worth noting that about 80% of lightning fatality victims or male. So here are a few more safety reminders as you make your outdoor plans this spring and summer. If you hear thunder, you got to get inside, go into a safe, sturdy shelter. If you're swimming and you're outside, make sure you head inside as quickly as possible. And if you don't have a sturdy shelter to go into, just make sure you get into your car if it's nearby. That's also a good barrier for protection. Let's keep this all in mind as we prepare for our spring and summer activities.
ABC11 Eyewitness News is committed to keeping you and your family safe during severe weather. That's why we let you know when to stay especially alert on first alert weather days. Whenever there is an advisory, watch, warning, or level 1 through 5 risk of severe weather, we'll provide your first alert. First to alert you about any changes in your weather, subtle or severe. That way you know how to plan your day and remain safe. No matter the change, hear about it all first with the ABC11 North Carolina mobile app.
Wind can also be a dangerous component of severe weather season. Now, some storms actually pack the potential to produce gusts that are capable of knocking down trees weighing thousands of pounds. Meteorologist Steve Stewart takes you on a virtual tour on how to spot potential danger in your very own backyard.
Thanks, Don. A lot of homes in central North Carolina, like this one here, back up to a forested area with dozens, if not hundreds of trees. The first step is recognizing which trees could be a problem. Pretty simple here. Find any large trees that could hit your house if they've fallen over. Here's one that's approximately 80 feet high and only 40 feet from our house. Next, examine this tree, and one thing you can do is look for any exposed roots like this, or cracked ground. That's an indication of a shallow root system, which means it's more susceptible to strong winds. Trees like this one that's leaning over, that's an obvious red flag, but if it has a V-shape or a U-shaped trunk, that's another red flag. That means it has more weak points to it and uneven weight distribution. That can make it even easier to topple over. Once you determine which tree or trees could hit your house, the next step is to find out what part of your house is in danger. So for example, if this tree were to fall over, this tree weighs approximately 15,000 pounds and could cause substantial damage to your house or even kill someone. Approximately 100 people die every year in the U.S. from falling trees. So now you know where not to be during a strong storm. In this scenario, you would be on the other side of the house on the first floor. Like for example, in here. Hello. Here you're safe from any falling trees and you can sit back, relax, and put on your favorite news program during the storm. Now, is there anything you can do to actually prevent this from happening? Technically, yes, but it can be rather expensive. No, we can't reverse time, but tree removal is an option. But with a tree this size, that can cost thousands. Now, if the tree is on city property, like this devil strip, for example, then you can contact the city you live in. They'll send out an ISA certified arborist to determine the risks. If they agree with you, they remove the tree at their expense. But it would have to be highly likely that the tree would fall over before they would remove it. The bottom line is, trees in central North Carolina can topple over even if a storm does not reach severe criteria. Best bet, know the dangers around your property and take action if the need warrants.
Keeping the lights on during a storm.
When we come back, Duke Energy's new technology that lets the power grid repair itself. We'll show you how it works. And opening up the severe weather vault, the tornado outbreak of March 28, 1984 was the most destructive tornado outbreak to sweep through North and South Carolina. 24 confirmed tornadoes, a record that would stand for 27 years. Sadly, this outbreak was responsible for 57 deaths.
ABC11 Eyewitness News and your First Alert weather team with your first alert to severe weather. Welcome back. I'm Chief Meteorologist Don Schwenneker. You know, when storms fire up, power outages typically follow. It's the price we pay for living in an area with such big and beautiful trees. But Duke Energy is working on keeping the lights on. Meteorologist Robert Johnson shows you how the utility's self-healing technology works.
Duke Energy is making significant strides to create a cleaner, smarter electric grid. The years-long comprehensive grid improvement strategy includes replacing old wooden poles with longer steel ones and adding rooftop solar for greener alternatives to the grid. But a key focus of the project is upgrading their so-called self-healing technology.
And this technology allows us to be able to automatically identify a power outage and quickly reroute power around that outage to restore customers faster. The way you can think about it is like the GPS in your car. If you're driving along the road and the GPS says there's an outage or an accident ahead and you can make a left turn here to get around that accident and keep you on your way, think of this as a GPS for the power grid. It's identifying problems when they occur, whether it be a tree on the line or a car hitting a utility pole, and then quickly rerouting power to other power lines and restoring power really in seconds in most cases. The self-healing technology can actually reduce the number of customers impacted by an outage by as much as 75%.
A crucial improvement, especially for an area that continues to see rapid growth. According to census data, more people moved to North Carolina in 2022 than any other state except for Florida and Texas.
If you think about it, people want very reliable power, but they also want cleaner energy. And to have both of those requires a foundational infrastructure to make all that happen. The grid that we use today was largely built for power flowing in one direction from a power plant to the customer. But now we've got power flowing in multiple directions from things like rooftop solar and electric vehicles and battery storage.
While helpful, Brooks reminds us that self-healing technology is not the end-all be-all.
Right? It doesn't repair damage. If you have a broken pole, that pole still has to be repaired. But if I can get back up, say, 1,500 of 2,000 customers using smart technologies, then my crew can focus just on what they need to focus on. Or if I can restore that outage without having to send a crew, then that means a crew is available to help another customer somewhere else.
Brooks says approximately a quarter of Duke Energy customers benefit directly from self-healing capabilities. They plan for that number to rise to about 80% over the next 3 to 5 years.
The power grid of the future will reconfigure itself constantly to be as efficient as it can be, but also to be as reliable as it can be as it works to deliver the quality our customers expect.
Spring is a time when we all want to get outdoors, but the weather can turn severe in an instant. Coming up on your first alert to severe weather, what some of our local outdoor venues are doing to keep you safe in the storm. And from the Severe Weather Vault, many of you will recall last year's tornado outbreak. In March of last year, a line of strong to severe thunderstorms and multiple supercells swept across the southeast, including Wake County, producing 90 tornadoes. It was the largest tornado outbreak of the year and tore the roofs off homes across the triangle.
This is one question I get. I'll let any of you guys take it more than anything else. What is the difference between a watch and a warning? Who wants it?
I think you have the best explanation. It's a nice, simple, everyone can understand, so why don't you go ahead?
Well, you know what? I when it comes to food, give it to the big guy.
Know your strengths.
I know my food, and I know my watches and warnings. So what I did, and I'll put a graphic up for you, it's called a pizza watch and a pizza warning. When we see you've got your dough, you've got your cheese, you've got your sauce, you've got all the ingredients to make a pizza, it doesn't mean you're going to have pizza for dinner. It just means you're ready to have pizza, and that's what a watch is. You're ready to have severe weather. It doesn't mean you're going to. A warning means the pizza's made. So you have all of the sauce and everything put together, and now we've got pizza and we're ready to eat. When we put those watches and warnings with different types of severe weather, we're talking about whatever that weather might be. So if it's a tornado watch, we've got all of the ingredients to make a tornado. Doesn't mean we'll see it. A tornado warning means the tornado's been made and you need to have a plan.
ABC11 Eyewitness News and the entire First Alert Weather team are committed to keeping you safe during severe weather. But if you spend any time outdoors, you could find yourself in the path of a storm. I checked with one of the Triangle's most popular outdoor venues to see what plans they have in place to keep you and your family safe when bad weather blows in.
Imagine you're taking in a show, movie, or sporting event at a local outdoor venue, and a severe thunderstorm warning or tornado warning is issued. What do? Ideally, you'd be aware of the possibility of severe weather that day. The way you respond could be the difference between safety, injury, and life or death. But one thing that can be very helpful is how venue and event personnel prepare and respond.
Everyone at Cocoa Booth, we are all weather hawks for sure.
The managers at Cary's Cocoa Booth Amphitheater get it.
Our procedure starts actually earlier in the week during a staff meeting when we talk about potential events upcoming and what could be affecting those.
Bowman says for Cocoa Booth, it's people over profit. He says on event day, they look for two key thresholds, 10 miles and 6 miles out.
10 miles out is what we're looking for any type of weather, because we want to be able to gauge how fast it's moving in and how fast we can react. 6 miles is the second key, and that's lightning strike. Anything within 6 miles and we are shut down, no matter who's performing.
Once the announcement is made and staff are prepped, the next step is getting patrons to safety. This can be a challenge with such a diverse audience. Some may face mobility issues.
That way you can only get them so far so fast. The other time that we worry about things is when it's a really young crowd. Young people think they're invincible, no matter what the weather is. If we've made the call for an all-stop, weather is coming.
That means it's time to move.
We're starting to direct guests up and out of the facility using all of the entrances and exits, and that's for anyone who feels most comfortable heading to their car. We do have a limited option here in this covered room and the restroom, but we want people to act as safe as they want to be.
It's important to know that being in a vehicle is safer than being outside. All thunderstorms produce lightning, and lightning kills an average of 30 people every year, not to mention the added potential for wind, hail, and tornadoes. Once the weather threat passes and the safety of staff and facilities has been assessed, the decision to move forward is made.
It's so hard to manage schedules between the venue or the visiting performer that sometimes we really can't line that up. So we will do everything in our power to not close down. Obviously, our social media pages are updated. We also have a weather hotline number which you can call.
So the next time you head to an outdoor event of any kind, please have an idea if severe weather is a threat before you go. Identify any safe places and exits upon arrival, and take a minute to think about where you will go if you need to head to your safe place, even if that's your vehicle.
Now that we're into spring, it is that time for severe weather, and there are things you need to know to stay safe. Flooding is one of the major killers of folks during severe weather events, so this is something you need to remember. Do not drive through flooded roads. There's multiple reasons why you don't drive through a flooded road. One of the biggest ones is you don't even know if the road's underneath that water, that standing water, and it just takes 6 inches of water to cause a car to stall, stranding you in the middle of floodwaters, and there may not be anyone around at all to help you actually clear that situation, which is serious. 12 inches of fast-moving water can carry away a small car, and then when we see even more than 12 inches, 18 to 24 of fast-moving water can carry away most large SUVs. So please be careful. Avoid ever crossing a road that is covered in water, and we see that not just with hurricanes, but with flash flooding, and even strong thunderstorms late in the afternoon can cause flash flooding. So be careful, be safe, turn around, don't drown. Back to you guys.
Your first alert to severe weather, and there's more to come. I check in with North Carolina's Emergency Management Director about severe weather season in the Tar Heel State and the 3 things he says you need to do before the next storm hits. Do you like interrupting programming and covering people's shows?
All the time.
Yeah, there you go. See? Absolutely.
And, you know, we get all the messages, but we are required by law, by the FCC, to help protect you when there is a tornado warning. So whether you're in Wake County or whether you are in Mecklenburg County, Virginia, the one county that we do cover in Virginia, or if you are in Hope County, we're going to cover it for you the same way as we would if you were in the Triangle, the Sand Hills, across the northern tier. So that is our commitment to you. And even though it does frustrate people, I think it should also give you some comfort that we're on the air, even if a tornado warning is not for your area, because then you know that when one gets issued for your area, and it will, you know we're going to cover you like we would cover anybody else too.
I'm thinking that's something to consider all the time. Let's be less selfish. Because, yes, of course, we are interrupting your program. However, there are people in the community around you that, of course, we care about. So just give us that time. We don't want to be on television. Of course, this is what we do for a living. But our utmost importance is to make sure that you're protected and safe.
And the good thing is, if you see a thunderstorm and you want to know if it's really bad outside, turn on ABC11. If you see a meteorologist on, we have life-threatening weather that we have to tell you about. That's the easiest way. When your phone goes off, flip on ABC11 or the ABC11 app. If we're on talking about it, chances are you should pay attention, or someone in our area needs to pay attention. When it comes to keeping North Carolina safe from disasters, it really takes a village. I sat down with North Carolina Emergency Management Director William Ray to see what it takes to prepare our state for Mother Nature's worst.
Always use generators outdoors and away from the home.
When it comes to managing emergencies in North Carolina, we're used to hearing from the Emergency Management Department during hurricanes.
I think a lot of people, have a picture in their minds of what emergency management is, and that's part of it. I feel incredibly privileged to work with the folks here in North Carolina Emergency Management every day, and they do really incredible work keeping this state safe and making sure that we're prepared to respond to whatever incident we have.
We recently caught up with North Carolina Emergency Management Director William Ray to talk about severe weather season in the Tar Heel State and how they work to always be ready for any emergency headed their way.
One of the things that makes the state successful is really that partnership and that relationship that we have every day with our local jurisdictions. And so whether it's an event that we can see coming and have a significant lead time on, or whether it's one that's no notice, we have the ability to kind of quickly analyze what's the impact is or going to be, try to match up resources, whether it's from the state or whether it's from a regional partner or a local partner, to get them quickly into that jurisdiction.
No matter what type of severe weather is headed in, Director Ray says there are 3 things every North Carolinian should do.
You need to have an emergency plan with your family and friends. You need to know where you will be able to go if for some reason you can't stay in your home for some period of time.
Try to figure out where you will head if a tornado touches down or if your neighborhood loses power for days on end. Number 2,
you need to have prepared a personal emergency preparedness kit. You need to have those critical supplies or documents or things that you're going to need to take with you. You need to have those ready to go should you have to leave without a whole lot of lead time.
And in that kit also include medications, cash, and any other things you may need for an extended stay away from home. Finally, number 3.
Make sure you have a way to get verified, reliable information, whether it's a NOAA weather radio, whether it's the local media or national media that you're using to get verified, actionable information. You stay up and understand the impact that you could potentially see in your jurisdiction. Again, to make sure you make the best decision for you and your family.
An easy way to make sure you're getting that info is to have the ABC11 app downloaded to your phone. Even if you lose power, you can still watch us over your cellular service. Whatever emergency is headed in, Director Ray says his team and their local partners on the ground in the communities they serve are the ones that will be ready.
These are the folks that are out there for a hurricane, in the waters, in the air, doing incredible work, getting North Carolinians to safety. So in our hazardous materials response and our search and rescue, really some incredible professionals that we get to work with.
And that's your first alert to severe weather. We've shown you how tornadoes form, the safest place to go in a storm, and how to spot a tree in your yard that could be ready to fall.
We've also explained why so many times we need to break into severe weather coverage and the difference between watches and warnings. Your safety is really important to us, and ABC11 is here for you before, during, and after any type of severe weather event.
And good news, we are always on 24/7 on our streaming channel. So download the ABC11 North Carolina app to put the power of the First Alert Weather team at your fingertips.
For meteorologist Quaylen Murphy, Steve Stewart, Robert Johnson, and Kim Diener, I'm Chief Meteorologist Don Schwenecker. Have a safe spring.